Greetings, my friends, and welcome back to the Home Slice. We have come to the final chapter of our small slicer competition, and the ones who have made it to this final round are the Spyderco Chaparral, wearing the Sun and Moon G10 scales in CTS XHP, and a Blank Blades CPM 10V Cleaver laser beam. These are both wearing dual grit edges. They had FEPA 400 grit Veneve on one side and 800 grit on the other, stropped with stroppy stuff. They've already both endured a period of carry and a lot of use, and we're going to give them a little bit more time in the pocket and see which one of these comes out on top. It's interesting that both of the ones that have the sculpted ergonomics are the ones that I have chosen for the final round, although the Spyderco Dragonfly, which this faced off against, also certainly had sculpted ergonomics. And I think that the edge length is very similar on both of them, very, very close. I'll put all the measurements that I care about on screen now for you to check out. This little 10V cleaver, it's got a nice little mosaic pin there and some linen micarta scales. And it's sitting at just under 64 Rockwell, probably somewhere around 63.5 Rockwell, made by my friend Jason over at Blank Blades. The Spyderco Chaparral has really insanely thin geometry, a beautiful slicing knife, and is made out of Carpenter's CTS XHP, which I've been really pleased with so far. Both of these have kept a really clean, keen edge, and I'm going to carry them this coming week and do nothing but strop the edge and see which of these steels actually seems to have lasted longer. If you want to see what the last two rounds of this tournament have looked like, I'll put them on screen now. Back with a wrap up here 2 weeks later, and I just can't get over how perfect these two blades are and how completely different from one another they are. I don't know if I've ever had two sort of short-bladed knives, very similar size actually, that I liked so much. I love the grip pattern on both of these. It's actually relatively similar, big choil at the front, and then a little bit of shaping here. It's a little more shaping on the Chaparral. But yeah, both of these have been a joy to carry. I think the edge on the Chaparral is still good. It's been still kicking throughout the week. The edge on the 10V seems a little bit nicer on Jason's knife here, but I think that the geometry is a bit thinner and the edge is a bit thinner, so that helps you a bit there. But man, they are both such thin, beautiful slicers. It's hard to pick a winner. I don't know. I like both of these so much. I think if there's one thing that tips it in any direction, I really, really enjoy this Chaparral, but I think this was such a new experience for me. I probably would have to pick this one as a winner. I didn't think I was gonna like the Cleaver blade shape, if I'm honest. I didn't think I was gonna like the straight edge, to be honest, and I didn't know if I was gonna like fixed blade EDC, and this is the first one I've ever carried. And on all three of those counts, I actually loved this knife. I found it super useful, really predictable. It's like having a little kind of utility razor blade knife in your pocket that is actually surprisingly tough and with a surprisingly thick little tip, but made out of CPM 10V at 63.5 Rockwell. So it's still got some of those toughness characteristics. It's not too brittle, but it's also got the edge retention of 10% vanadium carbide. So I think I would have to pick this little Cleaver as the winner. I also was really surprised at the stainless qualities of 10V. Every time I use it, I'm surprised that it doesn't discolor and patina more. But I also have to really give it up for the design work done on this Chaparral. This is a beautiful knife. Sal did a great job designing this guy. The sun and moon pattern is a lot of fun. It's kind of like a small, slicey, non-threatening knife you can pull out in most any setting, and people look at it and see, oh, that's just a knife made to do some work. And it's got a good grip characteristics. Smooth G10 is fun. Of course, I'm used to, and I like to have a little bit of grip, but because of all the shaping done on this handle, it's really worked okay. Yeah, I've enjoyed the feel of this like polished G10. So both really awesome knives by a narrow margin, just because of the novelty of it. I'm gonna have to name this guy the winner. It's also fun to have high vanadium steel. This is the first time I've actually dabbled in it, though I've got some more high alloy steels coming up. Just note it that nothing has been done to these edges, and they're cleanly slicing printer paper, a held sheet of printer paper. They are not push cutting anymore. Well, this one is not. Easy to cleanly slice printer paper. There's a few snags there's a snag or two in each blade. The 10V will almost push cut, but it's got a few catches. All right, I've just visited both of these to the 4 micron stroppy stuff strop, and yeah, both of these knives just become a thing of beauty all over again when you strop them up. This 10V is, it's on the edge of push cutting. It's not quite, but really good working edge restored. Feels crisp again, it feels smooth again. To be honest, the edge feels just as good, if not better, on this XHP. That's actually push cutting better. Wow, that's amazing. Spyderco's done a wonderful job with this XHP. That's so cool. Also, there are some functions that are more difficult with a straighter edge. It's push cutting a little bit, but the Chaparral is definitely push cutting a little bit better. So interesting, the 10V responded well to the 4 micron strop, and it seems the XHP responded even better. There is a little grab point in there somewhere. It's hard to find. The 10V though, also absolutely crisp. These are two wonderful knives. Okay, so this is how the tournament has gone, and in the winner slot we have the 10V Cleaver, although there was not a single knife in this series that I disliked. Okay, so I've shown this Hall of Fame before, but just to sort of unpack it a little bit, I'm moving back to the US, so I've really got to narrow down which knives I'm going to keep, and I came to the idea of making a knife Hall of Fame that's like my favorite knives, and those are like my for sure keepers, and it boils down to certain roles. So first of all, note up at the top, the Chaparral has to go back to Spyderco for Catra testing, and the Dragonfly I gave as a gift to my daughter Mara because it's a really good size for her. Now I like to have a stout and slicey work knife that is kind of fidget friendly, and that is the Streamlined Worker, and at that moment the slot is being filled by the CJRB Pyrite Alt. I also like to have an Enduring Edge Worker, a work knife where the edge retention is really long, and the Blank Blades 10V Cleaver Fixed Blade EDC is going to take that slot. Weekenders are your sort of really minimal carry size knife that you just throw in your pocket and don't have to worry about. I like for those to be slicey, and it doesn't matter as much if they have a strong or fancy lock. I like thin blade stock for those guys and small carry footprint. Presently in that slot we have the Kershaw Federalist Double Detent Slip Joint. As far as dedicated slicers go, I like my slicers to have a good solid 3.5 inches of edge or more. So at the moment we've got the Real Steel G-Slip, which is acting as my picnic knife. It's a really great food slicer with a long blade and a thin blade stock. Aside from a slicer to pack on a picnic as a family to cut up food, I also like to have an ultra thin knife to chuck in the alternative sheath of my K-Bar Becker to take camping, and right now that is the open nail paring knife that I turned into a linen micarta folder. I find it's fun to at least have one or two sort of formal or fancier knives, and the class act is a long narrow blade with a clean aesthetic and just like a fancier handle or blade material. At the moment I've got the Civivi Imperium with carbon fiber shred and silver flake handle in there, because that's kind of your knife you want to bring out at a dinner and use as a steak knife at a fancy event. The Cleric is like just a nod to the fact that I like to have a smaller blade to like break down boxes and open packages at work. Smaller so it sort of fits in a work setting, but really good edge retention. And the leaf-shaped blank blades fixed blade that I did in this tournament is going to be the new knife to take that slot. There's a few more use cases to be filled, and I'll explain them as we fill them, but all of the knives from the upcoming 3 or 4 tournaments that I have coming are going to be competing to fill these slots, and some of them might kick some of these knives out, but all of these knives have been covered already in tournaments that have aired on the channel so far. If you want to check that out, you can go to my channel and look at the playlists. There's a playlist that is EDC tournaments. Link to my last videos on screen now, and for all the rest of you, I will say peace out from the home slice. I hope you have a great day. Bye.